I think that the thing that we sort of have to recognize from at least the road games here, and is that once Kasperi Kapanen was moved up to the top line with Matthews and Marleau, it made a difference. And I think, Tyler Ennis has played pretty good on the fourth line since then, which is what I thought he was signed for in the first place. But the William Nylander camp has got to be worried now, because if they keep Kapanen there, and I think they will for the foreseeable future, and Kapanen continues to score at the rate that he's scoring, and he blends well with Matthews, any leverage that Nylander had is absolutely gone, because they're saying, okay, William, you want $8 million? Well, go and get it someplace else. You're not getting it from Toronto. You're going to get what we're offering you, or have your agent go out there and search for a trade, because that might be the case down the road.
The Nylander stuff is almost as ridiculous as these stupid rumors. Arizona offer sheeting Matthews and the Leafs. Absolutely foolish. Anybody who even thinks that's something that will come to fruition and the Leafs will lose their guy is just forget about it, man. It's almost impossible to have nice things.
William Nylander has got two priorities. One, he wants to get paid. Two, he wants to stay in Toronto. If he wants to stay in Toronto, he is not going to get paid as much as he would be if he was the top player on the Detroit Red Wings or a team that's sort of in the middle of the NHL. The Leafs are set for a course of 5 to 7 years of being one of the better teams in the league and a contender, if they fill some other holes. And if he wants to go along with the ride, he's going to have to take a little less. Now, if he doesn't want to do that, that's fine. I understand it completely. The career of most NHLers is finite. It's 10 to 12 years at the most. And if he wants a situation where he's going to make the most money possible, I completely understand that. But he's not going to be able to do that in Toronto, and it's going to either go down as he takes a bridge deal, or he takes a longer-term deal at a little lesser amount, a little bit of a haircut. If he does either one, I don't think he's finishing out either one of those contracts in Toronto, unless the deal is so economical on a long-term deal that it's just too good to give up. But if he signs a bridge deal 2 or 3 years, at the end of that bridge deal, he's going to expect, and if he has good years, he's going to expect to make as much money as Matthews and Marner. And that's not happening because they can't afford it. So that's why I think, this is a short-term thing with Nylander. He's going to sign eventually. But I think a year or two down the road, I think he's going to be the piece that they move to get that defenseman that they need.
I don't know. Nylander's getting on my nerves.
Right now, they're talking two different languages, because from all the reports, and it's funny because the agent isn't saying anything. The team isn't saying anything, so it's basically third party, and we don't know how accurate this is. But from insiders who I completely trust, who don't put out disinformation, the number for Nylander's deal starts with an 8, and the Leafs are talking about something starting with a 6. So you're talking about $1 million to $1.5 million difference on a long-term deal. If that stays, then I think that the compromise, even though it doesn't suit both of them, is the 2 to 3 year bridge deal. And if that happens, then it's not perfect, because as we saw with other bridge deals like Kucherov or Ryan Johansson or PK Subban, after 2 or 3 years, if those players have really good years, then he's going to expect to make $9, $10, or $8, $9 million, and the Leafs won't be able to pay that. But I think right now it's the most important thing is to get him signed, and get him signed for the most economical deal you can get possible.
Mike, can the 6th best player on your team be making $8 million a season? Because here's my rankings now: Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Riley, Anderson, Nylander. The longer he stays out, the further down the list he's going to go. How on earth does the 6th best player on your team, because that's what he is now, make $8 million a season? And what kind of bad blood is this going to create between the Leafs and, the family? If Michael Nylander's as involved as we've heard he is, Michael might rip back a stiff drink and say, all right, take it, William, but we're going to take it to these guys down the line.
I think that right now, I don't know what the feelings on the Nylander side, but I think the Leafs are approaching this in a very business-like way in terms of asset management. You have to treat it that way. I mean, they're looking at the situations with Marner and Matthews next summer, and they know that, this is going to be sort of like a signal to them. And, we don't know what's going to happen there. I think that they're not going to hold back in terms of signing Matthews long-term for as much as, as long as they can for as little as they can. That's just the nature of negotiations. But with Nylander, I think they want to get him signed. They want to get him signed to as economical a deal as possible. And then a year or two down the road, maybe even sooner, they evaluate, okay, we know it's going to be a situation where if he's on a bridge deal, he's going to expect to get paid a lot of money. And can we afford to pay him a lot of money? And that's when, you evaluate whether that asset can stay and they can afford to keep him, or that asset needs to go and they need to address other areas. That's the approach that the Leafs are taking. I think they just want to get him signed for the best deal possible.
When John Tavares was mulling joining the Maple Leafs in the offseason, do you think he called William Nylander and asked if he's going to sign long-term? Or do you think he may have had that conversation with Austin Matthews?
From what I understand.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
The answer to that, Mike.
Well, he talked to Matthews. I think I don't know how many players. I know he talked to Matthews. I know he talked to Marner. But I don't know whether he talked to Nylander, but I'm sure that, the whole point of this was, you're joining a team that's going to have multiple weapons. And that's the whole point that the Leafs are trying to do. They're trying to maintain those multiple weapons. They're trying to keep them as long as possible to have the greatest success. So, I don't minimize the importance of William Nylander on this roster, but I think he is minimizing his own importance by him not being here and by him allowing, him by not being in camp, not signing, and now Kasperi Kapanen is getting an opportunity to play in his place. And if Kapanen continues to succeed, then it just shows, okay, well, we can do without William Nylander. It's not as important to sign him to that long-term deal. Maybe we take the bridge and maybe we reevaluate his spot in this organization going forward.
All I can say to William Nylander at his camp, you do you. If you think it works for you, you do you.